Always buy stock from a reputable supplier that has vaccinated the birds during the rear for everything that we see in industry. As pullet rearers, we work very closely with our vets and our customers to make sure we're vaccinating and covering all the major things that we see on farm. The health status of pullets and hens in Scotland at this present time is actually very high, and as a result of us and other pullet rearers doing the job properly. Always avoid buying birds at markets or fairs. You haven't got a clue of the source, and upon that you could just be buying somebody else's problems. To make sure the eggs are of top quality, always buy a top quality feed and don't dilute it with too much grain. Shells are made up basically from calcium and phosphorus, and if the birds don't take in or store enough of both those items, then soft shelled eggs can appear. You go into the nest to pick up the egg and you put your fingers through it. That's the typical example. Red mite is again one of the biggest issues we see, and unfortunately nowadays there's very few products available due to government regulation that we can actually use to kill them and remove them from the hen house. Red mite sucks blood out of the hens predominantly at night as a food source for itself, but as a result makes the skin of the birds very itchy and painful, and the birds tend to want to scratch and pull out feathers. If you see an issue, you need to speak to your local supplier or farm supply shop who can give you an item or a product to try and keep it under control. Red mite control can be done at turnaround when your house is empty. Use detergents to break down the surface of the mites, and if need be, spray when the shed is empty with a suitable insecticide. But red mites can actually remain live without food for 3 months. An ongoing issue that the industry has faced is one that nobody sees and nobody really wants to know, and that's actually a result of foxes, badgers and sea eagles and other raptors. Poultry are a good tasty meal, and we're even seeing them predating the free range sections through the day. Farmers, to try and stop the raptors getting in, and such as foxes and badgers, have spent a lot of money on very high quality fences and dug it into the ground. But you do have your limits, and if they want in, they will get in. Major pullet rearers test their birds prior to moving for a worm count, so there isn't a problem. We know the birds are clean when they move. But during the lay, hens gutter around in mud and pick up things, and worms can sometimes be an issue. If you're in doubt, take a dropping sample to your vet and ask for a worm count to be done, and if a reading comes back of above 1,000, then treat the birds preferably with something like Flubenvet, which you can mix in the feed and is readily available through a PML registered farm supply shop, which you can buy over the counter and add into the feed for a period of a few days, which will resolve the problem. One of the key things for any poultry farm, no matter what the size you are, is biosecurity. From the very moment you get to a farm gate, we would always advise everybody, keep the public out. Do not let anybody beyond your farm gate, and definitely do not let them near your poultry units. It just is not safe, and it's one risk too far. Any precautions you can put in place: don't let people through the gates, have signs up saying no entry. If they have to come through the gates, to suitably dip their feet or change their clothes and their footwear before they pass through the entry gates. On entry to the unit, again, they dip their feet and change their footwear as part of the precaution, and use a suitable disinfectant at the right level and make sure it's changed on a daily basis. At terminal clean out, no matter whether it's a large or a small unit, remove all the litter and debris, spray the unit with a detergent to break down the muck, wash all the debris out and the shed out, allow it to dry, and then spray it with a suitably approved disinfectant at the right level. Leave that to dry, and if need be, do it again. The precautions are better than problems. And then leave it to dry and then restock. The illusion is that disinfectants kill everything. Disinfectants only work if the surface is free from organic matter, and if the surface is dry, which means that the disinfectant does not run off and is absorbed. The Scottish Government have a comprehensive list on biosecurity protocols into conjunction mainly with avian influenza, so that is readily available through the Scottish Government Egg Department.